with the first round victory on defense. Border is an interesting matchup because there is, depending on the teams and depending on the way the operator bans work, we can see this map be either very attacker favored or very defender favored. Don't really want to make any prognostications until after all the operator bans come in. Both Blackbeard and Lion, those are the exact same operators that were banned just previously on Clubhouse. So, hey, let's see what comes up next. Probably going to be Mira. That was Noble's ban last time around. I would imagine she's off the board. Is Honor going to ban Clash again? Because that kind of pigeonholes you. If you take Clash out of the fray, you take her out of the equation, then you're going to have to deal with an Echo or a Maestro, or possibly both, as a lot of teams do tend to double up on those operators if one remains unbanned. Echo wouldn't be too much of a surprise, but Honor worried about the newest operator, Clash, and we'll have the same bans that we just had on Clubhouse here for Border. I'm going to say that with a Lion and a Blackbeard ban, I'm pretty content as the attackers, because you've got Hibana available, you've got Maverick available, you've got Thermite available, you've got Ying and Glaz available. On the defensive side, you've lost Mira, that's a pretty big blow, but you're still gonna be able to run Maestro and Echo, so it really could come down to just the way that the teams play this. I'm pretty happy if I'm an attacker at the fact that you're gonna have a lot more flexibility on attack, especially with it just being a Blackbeard and a Lion that's taken out.
I think actually Honor are just shooting themselves in the foot here by banning out Clash. Maybe none of them are specific shield players or very proficient on shields in general, but I think if you're trying to take Noble to a gunfight, you're not gonna have a good time. If you can set up some crossfires around baiting someone in to engage with that Clash, or just the time waster that Clash is, you know, we saw the site execute for Noble on their attacks be pretty sloppy. Maybe Clash throws the final wrench in the plan needed to really secure you some rounds on defense as they do start out here. I think Clash as well, just, you can't get shot in the face. And going up against a team like Noble, I mean, like you said, they everyone gives Obey a lot of credit, I guess you could call it that, for being a pretty heavy fragging team. Noble's right up there with them with the fragging potential anyway, and that's a scary thought. So I think bringing the Clash could just be enough of a distraction and a nuisance to Noble that you could eke some rounds out on time. They elect to ban it. I'm imagining, I guess they don't want to go against it themselves, but if you're starting out on defense, again, get yourself on some good footing here. Instead, they're going to take it out. Like you said, the double up on the Maestro and the Echo. Also bringing the Valkyrie, so a lot of advanced information operators here.
Yeah. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen here. Just wanted to give you a bit of a brief update as we have another result available for you. We will have a rematch as SK Gaming defeats the BYOC team Nani. Once again, something I never thought I would ever say in my career. 6-0, 6-0, matching the Mouse core result. And SK will play Space Station Gaming for a rematch. I believe it will be off stream from my understanding. And that will determine which of those two teams will advance to the quarterfinals. That'll surely be a barn burner. We'll see if SK will be able to fix a lot of those mistakes that they made and see if Space Station will be able to bring the heat as they came very close to knocking off Millennium. And once again, just a bit of a subtle plug. Ha, subtle. If you want these results available to you, you can check in on the results of these matches, the scoreboards for most of the matches, and even some photos from the event on Twitter. Go to @DreamHackR6. Give the account a follow, and you'll be rewarded with all the information that we relay to you throughout the course of a broadcast.
I imagine that matchup, SSG's not going to allow Consulate through.
Yeah, not after they got 6-0'd. No, probably an insta-ban there.
Returning back to the game at hand, though, midway point of the first round, Noble attacking, Breach open a peek hole from the Hibana. I'm sure Breezy will open up a little bit more. There is a disabled Evil Eye, I think I'm hearing zapping in my ears from an EMP. A second peek hole going to be opened up on the right-hand side of Heavy as he's right up against the armory wall, and now he's going to line up with Crazy. Some odd positioning here from Noble outside of the walls. They haven't really made much of an entryway for themselves, more just trying to take the aggression. You also have three defenders all stacked on one another. Crazy's going to push in the cover of smoke and just escaping the purview of the glass. And unfortunately, that won't be the same for Romulus, shooting up the feet and taking down a Legend as well. 4v3 advantage as Yeti falls in the background. Crazy still at locker sandwich. The plant gets completed by Noble, lighting up. Oh, what a wonderful shot by Crazy, turning the corner for another one, lighting up the feet once again. Acid gonna fall in line with the L85 off screen. It's a quick wipe for Noble on round number 1, and Crazy on the glass having a fun time. Maybe that should have been a ban coming out from Honor.
Well, I'm surprised that you don't see a ban for Glaz on Border. This was touched upon by Emzo yesterday, if I recall correctly. Or actually, it might have been you.
Me?
In the C9, it was in the C9 Market match.
Yeah.
The C9 Market match, they did not ban Glaz, and you very astutely pointed out that Glaz not being banned on Border is usually a major yikes.
Oh yeah, I usually say that.
And this was indeed a major yikes. A 4K for Crazy, is really the resistance that he encountered was paltry. All he needed to do was throw 2 smoke grenades in and continuously walk, with every single member of Honor having no idea where the menace of Glaz was, as he can see right through that smoke, and just push and push and push. As for Honor, I think that their strategy was to try to hold down archives, beepers/metal detectors, have one person playing small office, and then the other over by Sandwich. They had both the Echo and the Maestro. As I noted, when they're both unbanned, you'll see a lot of teams run both of them. Honor will just go with the Maestro this time around, but you have them both play over by the lockers, just on the east side of Sandwich. You have another possibly play inside of Sandwich, providing there's going to be no rappel up under that Sandwich window, and it's very difficult for you to be able to get to them. It provides a pretty good opportunity and some shelter for the anchors to play. Kind of hard to do that when you're completely blind because there's smoke, you can't see anything, and there's a Glaz that's just absolutely tormenting your team. And even with 2 3-speed operators, Crazy was able to shoot him in the neck and or the head.
Yeah.
So not a lot to break down for what Noble did. What did they do? Well, they opened 2 peepholes in Armory Wall, forced the rest of Honor back, and then you just got a Glaz to walk in and kill them all. Excellent job on round number 1. It does look like Honor is going to potentially go for a spawn peek, and it does sound like it's a Glaz on the other side of that, so Legend is going to realize. It wasn't a Glaz, actually. The Glaz was shooting independently. You don't really want to peek a Glaz unless you're Canadian in the Invitational, and that Glaz happens to be Jonas. And then you win the fight, and nobody really understands why. Pretty common spawn peek, but it does look like we're going to see a very similar strategy coming out from Noble, which is to take control of security/CCTV, open up 1 to 2 holes in that wall of Arsenal, which is currently bandit tricked, so you're going to have to take care of those 2 bandit charges and see if Romulus is going to actively bandit trick like he was doing so well on Clubhouse, and then just have your Glaz rain terror on everybody on the other side of it, and maybe see how close to double digits Crazy can get in 2 rounds.
Noble lining up for this AWOL take once again, taking ever so slightly longer to propel their attack in, but still plenty of time left available to them. Peeking open and breaking open the locker sandwich window. Mustache will fall. Heavy bringing the Ash this time around, as that's an operator, like you said, we don't really see a lot of, simply because there's other ops with other utility. The Bandit of Romulus pressed right up against the wall. Constant pings. Drone got destroyed, but he's in a bad spot. The Nitro cell from Romulus, though, will take down Crazy. No double digits for Crazy today.
at least on that second round.
Yeti gonna drop Romulus. So there goes the Bandit. They'll finally get the wall open for another peek hole. Just spotting the Jaeger moving into small office. LSG gets his head removed. Sprays to the floor. It's all just a mess for Honor now. Legend alone in a 1v4. Stuck inside of Archives. They have the site control. Planting by half wall, and he's going to go for a long rotation down to the main hallway. Unless he can get the CC flank undiscovered. No, there's a 90 cam. Good luck, Legend. Being consistently droned once again. Sprays and pings. Lighting, no, not even lighting up. Missing every single bullet onto Heavy. Pressing behind metal half wall. A crazy run there by Breezy is going to be his demise. Multiple flashbangs coming in. Legend full blind. Heavy still not going to peek it. Worried about the bomb. There's a flank coming in from behind. An office from Yeti. Legend completely dead to rights. Nowhere to go. Noble hold the angles. Heavy with a 3K on the round, and maybe don't go to Armory anymore, Honor.
Yeah, those were both 2 very, very swift rounds. Swift rounds, and they basically revolved around the same thing. What I think is more inexcusable is that you had nobody potentially watching a rappel up to sandwich window. And that was a free kill for the Ash.
Twice.
Just rappel up and just get a kill,
Twice.
and there's no calls being made. A bit inexcusable at this point, at least this point in time, so. Frustrating for Honor as they put up a much better fight on Clubhouse. Now keep in mind that they did go down 2 pretty decisive rounds on Clubhouse. Noble went 1 and 2 before we saw For Honor's counter punch. Same thing here, except the difference was a map that maybe Honor was more tailored to. And they started on defense on Clubhouse, whereas they don't have that same luxury here on Border at all.
Ooh. Crazy gonna 6-pick off the glass to a Capitao. No, Sledge.
Sledge at the last
okay.
second.
Crazy's just trying to mess me up today, but nonetheless, hey, they go back to Armory. Okay, and maybe we need to talk about beating your head against a wall here, boys, but no Maestro now, no Echo, both available. They just don't feel like it, and they think the Vigil is going to be the solution to their problems, as that's the only change they made from the Maestro. I got to tell you, the Vigil is not the answer, and the setup is also not really the answer. You can continuously reinforce trip wall in office, while Noble continuously go for an AWOL take. You gotta kind of read into this at some point, Honor.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough to say. Like, we've seen teams run up the score on attack, as I mentioned before on Border. Like I said, I think the attackers should probably be coming away with this pretty well. Honor's not even using some of the best tools right now on defense, and once again, they're going to be going for a spawn peek. Jaeger doesn't have access to an ACOG anymore, so interesting that he would bother to use a operator in that way, especially with how good that carbine is sitting at the moment. I think Acid sees the punched hole in the barricade, but isn't going to bother to possibly try and outduel that because it's not really it's not really worth risking your head for. So the Thatcher of Acid will rotate, and that's because you need those EMPs. Thatcher is an almost integral operator on most sites on Border in particular. Now, especially with Mira being far less prevalent, you don't see a lot of teams running a Twitch. There will be Thatcher doing his job, or her job, rather.
Looks like LSG on the Vigil is playing top east stairs, trying to battle out and possibly go for a run out. Acid still very hesitant to push in any deeper. He's going to drone for a second time. Drone finally going to spot whoever this is. It looks like it might have actually been the Valkyrie of Mustache on east. Heavy coming through the bathroom hallway at Tellers. It is Mustache, and he's going to get deleted pretty quickly. Heavy having a fun time on Ash, an operator we haven't really seen a whole lot of. Got to see a lot of it from APAC teams at Paris, but Freak gonna trade one back onto Yeti, so a better start here for Honor, but they lose their Nitro cell from below. I'm sure Romulus is still bringing the Bandit Nitro, so they've only got one left available to them. Even man count, Noble taking things a little bit slower, and they've actually opted to go for the full office take this time. Full rotate instead of going for the A-wall, and Romulus is gonna go back and collect his Bandit batteries and bring them back.
A smart idea to pick that up. I mean, you realize that the change is coming out. 90 seconds in, you got half the round to go. At this point, Noble needs to go for a rotate because you can continuously try to take the same wall, but I think Noble's also testing their own flexibility. I think they want to see what the best course of action is to attack this site. You give it a third opportunity here, Honor's going to have another crack at a site that they have not been proficient at whatsoever. LSG, I think, reads that situation, gets droned out, and he's going to head through customs as Romulus gets a kill onto Crazy. And that's the Sledge, but Acid all the way at the top of East Stairs, able to vanquish the Jaeger of Legend who we'd seen earlier on. Now, he was holding on to a couple ADS when he was roaming. Hopefully, for his team's sake, he managed to put them all down. Heavy, it's just a battle of very aggressive Doc, and Freak gets a kill that probably shouldn't have been in the favor, and he's going to get traded off by Breezy just a couple seconds later. This has been a back-and-forth contest, and we've just hit under a minute. So Noble has some utility available, but will largely have to go for pure fragging here. For Honor, they've got pure fragging and a Bandit as well as a Vigil, and Romulus somehow manages to pull a rabbit out of a hat and takes out Acid. The Vigil's position will be known, and there's Romulus as Honor. A mirror matchup so far on Clubhouse. Noble takes rounds 1 and 2, but Honor takes number 3. We're seeing it all over again.
And again, down to a 1v1 at the very end. So
exactly the same.
Deja vu between maps, not really surprising, as it's pretty obvious that Honor was going to at least figure something out along the way, and it turns out the aggression was the way to do it. I do like the way LSG played that, as he was cordoned off in passport check before using the impact nade, as Heavy definitely had his rotate and him dead to rights if he didn't have that impact to press out into customs. Into Vent Workshop now will be Honor, still at a round deficit, bringing the castle, pretty indicative of a typical Vent Work hold. A lot of dock play, In a world where we don't really see a whole lot of dock play anymore, I think it's a little bit of a waste of utility. I think I'd rather take the Echo.
I mean, we've seen Doc, but we've also seen Echo and Maestro alongside of the Doc.
Oh, there we go.
Part of the reason why you do see the Doc Rook coverage that we have is because the MP5 with the ACOG is often considered a better gun to the suppressed MP5 that Echo runs. And also, you're not going to be using Echo anywhere near as aggressively. You know, Echo will be inhabiting that he'll be inhabiting that anchor role that we used to see a lot of Smoke from, but even Smoke has seen a dramatic decline in play because of that SMG-11 nerf. Honor just instead running with a very interesting set of operators that are often smokeless. And I think what could have possibly stopped that glass push round number 1? A Smoke. What could have possibly stopped that exact same glass push and armory push in round number 2? A Smoke. What did Honor not utilize to help their defense at all? A Smoke. And now I think it might be costing them because they're putting a lot of focus on the yokai of Freak. You need those 2 yokais to stay alive.
5 seconds to go.
But if you use the yokais aggressively, well, then you end up losing them early on, and that goes against exactly what the purpose of Echo is. I think Honor's play on anchors, in terms of anchors, has been what's really been lacking. I think their roaming has been largely okay, at least so far on border, but you see a lot of teams won't have a lot of roamers, especially when you're trying to defend upstairs, because you'll usually keep 5 bodies close to or on site. Now that we're down in Ventilation Workshop, things might be a little bit different. You find that typically you'll have 1 or 2 bodies up top, maybe 1 body over in the east end as well, depending on how you want to play it, maybe in offices, fountain, etc. But it still looks like they're going pretty similar. They got 3 bodies on site and 2 above, so who knows how they're going to be able to shake this out. If the push comes from Armory Wall, which is exactly where it is, you got the dock and the castle, and that's about it. You could be down 2 very quickly.
Flashing over the castle barricade, the first one on the armory door to be taken down as Crazy presses in. He's got a little bit of help from the Hibana of Breezy in behind him. And heavy pressing, looks like it was gonna come through Archive's window. Mustache has been down, will be finished off by Breezy aggressively, and he goes for 2. It's Crazy finishing out LSG. 5v3 advantage in the top hold, completely eliminated in mere seconds.
And like I said, you could find both of them in the line of fire. The Doc's position of Mustache, very perplexing. I don't understand why you wouldn't have possibly put the ACOG behind half wall or bunker, as a lot of North American teams will call it, because then you have that ACOG at the longer range to be able to take that fight while still having the indestructible brick wall in front of you. Now, you are prone to getting attacked from below, but in order to get that pressure onto the Doc at half wall, you would literally have to be in the site, which Noble has not been able to do. Now Romulus, who was on site, is coming in for a belated flank. Up top of East Stairs, he'll crouch walk his way in, but shoot a drone, and that at least will provide somewhat of an audio cue that his trying to work on a flank here. Candelas go off, Legend gets a kill onto Acid, but here you can see, look at this. A lot of people don't know you can do this with Candelas, and they'll just dump all that utility in, but Romulus could possibly get a kill. Misses his target, and he's gonna have to get out of there as quickly as he can because there's only 1 left on site now. As Legend is down, Plant going down from Breezy. Romulus is gonna have to get back to site and will be thwarted by his own castle barricade.
Flank gets completed inside of Ventilation. Romulus coming back down west. He's Freak inside of Workshop. Is gonna have to press towards the server hatch. Trying to battle from main hallway and might just go for the aggressive run out. He's gonna wait until he's detected and do it, just throwing his life away. Freak makes it inside. Breezy right outside the window. Low HP, but he's still gonna win it out with the bearing 9. Breezy with 3. And Noble back up 3-1 on a 2-round advantage for them. And after 1 little falter there on the last attack round, they look to be in better form again.
Good thing if I'm Honor is that I expect the attacking teams to do well. You've got way more utility than I think the defenders have. And compounding that is the fact that I don't think Honor's composition on defense has really been as utility heavy as I think they need. We saw 1 real crack at them using a Maestro Echo combo. No real smoke. They obviously don't have Mira available. I think there's a lot more that Honor can be doing with operators. You know, the mute pick, sure, that's fine. You're gonna go to Vent Workshop again because that upstairs armory, it's closed off. You can't go back to it. Once again, they had the misfortune of winning their first defense on round 3, which locks the site for the rest of your time on defense. That's probably the worst round to win your first defensive round because then it boxes you in for the next 2. Ventilation Room and Workshop is where we see Honor have to go. I mean, they could go to customs, but a lot of teams that don't have a Mira available find it very difficult to possibly defend bathroom tellers or the customs sites downstairs. Because you need the Mira usually to make that work. Maybe not so much on bathroom tellers, but definitely for customs because you need to hold CCTV above.
Bomb located by attackers.
The Capkin is going to be an interesting pick. Part of what Noble has been so successful at is being able to come in, whisk away map control from Honor, and then just continue to push. The Capkin will at least slow them down temporarily, but I don't really think Noble's had many problems with droning and communicating. So really, after you hit your first Capkin, yeah, somebody's going to lose anywhere from 40 to 60 HP. It's a pretty respectable chunk. But then you're just going to have to watch every single doorway and window from that point onward, where it becomes a bit of a nuisance and something to think of, but that's really about it from that point on. we'll see what Legend is able to do with it. Smart idea to use them all off-site so that you try to slow them down as they push towards that site.
Spawn peek out of Tellers, and he's got one coming towards him. It's the Ying of Heavy. Taking a few pod shots, not a single one will land. That's been a common theme for Honor, taking the aggression but not executing properly. It's just poor circumstance for Honor to try and battle back, as I understand the temptation to try and go for those aggressive plays and trying to put things back in your favor early on, get some confidence, get some energy, get some momentum, but you got to kind of execute. As I say that, Mustache peeking out the vent window will drop Yeti. This is Zofia, a lot of utility lost, and spawning out the Legion of Freak upstairs. It was inside of Archives. So probably a free nade for Crazy. No ADS is on the board. And it looks like Noble actually positioning themselves to just go for the front rush, and that's exactly what they're doing. Less than a minute in, the supply room flank, though, not ready for it. That's LSG on the pulse, pulling out the pistol to finish him off. Mustache claims another victim. Romulus in tandem, and it's all up to Crazy in a 1v5 all of a sudden. Only 60 seconds deep in the round, and it's all but over. Looking like another copycat of Clubhouse, unless Crazy can pull the comeback of a lifetime. What a flick by Freak. Gonna drop Crazy, and once again, Honor escaped the first half, only down a round. Will it be the same story as Clubhouse, though, where they cannot pick another one up for the rest of the game?
It's astonishing how well aligned this is. It's, you know, it's
the exact same.
Exactly the same, and the rounds playing out very similarly. The first round that Honor wins, it winds up being a 1v1. The second round that Honor wins ends up being a very fast takeover as Honor just smothers Noble. Noble's now going to go on to defense. This is where things could get very interesting. I still like what I can see from an attacking lineup here. Utility being brought from Honor. I don't necessarily think the sledge is required. I would 6-pick off of the sledge, possibly to more utility. Maybe see a Capitao come in, maybe a Glaz, or just go for outright pure fragging potential. I mean, the sledge is fine, but I mean, you've got Buck doing most of the job that you're going to need that sledge to do anyway. But I mean, we've seen teams run both of them on this site before. Obey Alliance in particular, a lot of times would bring both a Buck and a sledge together, with the L85 being a very proficient killing machine now. The SMG-11 has gotten a bit worse, but you still got frag grenades on Romulus and sledge. So Honor might not necessarily need more utility than what they have. As a safety measure, you could have possibly brought a Hibana as well, but that's really a comfort pick. As for Noble, some interesting things here. There's some teams that have run strategies involving Frost on border that typically involve setting those Frost mats inside of security/CCTV and break room, which is exactly where we see Crazy right now. So as long as you can fight in that area where you just saw Crazy reinforcing, just under what's called 90 or L, the other side of the wall inside of security, could stall a lot of time forcing the attackers to either have to fight you or fight the frost mat that you're about to leap into when you break through the window or walk through a door and you're not really paying attention. Something to look out for. But it's very much an all or nothing style of play, because if the frost pick doesn't work out, then you basically just squandered an opportunity to have a better operator like an Echo, like a Jaeger, that could have possibly paid dividends. And no Jaeger for Noble with 4 frag grenades on the board and a Zofia, it could get real messy for Noble real fast.
Immediate east stairs control for Honor. 3 attackers push in. Looks like they want to go for an office push instead of even remotely attempting to deal with the CCTV hold. We got 4 now coalesced outside or underneath. All 5 of them, actually. Okay, it's a party outside of Trip Wall on office, and just 1 covering flank downstairs. The bandit trick not going to be successful from Yeti. It's way too late, and LSG is going to be able to detonate the thermite charge cleanly, open up Trip Wall, and everyone on Honor stacking to go for the push. They're going to have to get rid of Yeti and Sandwich, though.
Yeah, Yeti's going to be the first man here, but we've seen some crazy heroics from that red dot side of the MP7. Just a bit of a run out from Crazy through the break room door, looking all the way down towards the east stairs curve. There was no one there, and just barely missed by a drone, as well as the drone looked like he was going the other way. Now Yeti has managed to take out 2 to 3 drones, but here's where the lack of ADS is really going to hurt him. Very susceptible to a frag grenade. All of the Zofia, just absolute disruption is going to come in. But Yeti on an absolute tear. He takes one down with Breezy there to help him before finally there's just too many guns from Honor. Mustache will get one and LSG adds to another. And you've lost 4 people on the battlefield within just a matter of seconds. You've also allowed the thermite to waltz right in and can take the wall into archives with ease. That's the second exothermic charge that will go off. There's a Buck very well damaged, but still possibly has a frag grenade available at his disposal. And Mustache can wreak some havoc with that.
Heavy trying to pixel peek towards the radio window, just seeing the head of LSG peeking through, unable to land the shots, and they're in a good position still as the Archives wall has been breached open, but Noble at range can defend with the Legion mines. Acid pretty low on HP, but you also have the Evil Eyes as well, slow things down. Mustache also low on HP as they all circle up inside of Fountain to go for this Archives push. No one really specifically watching for Crazy's flank. LSG though gonna take down Acid. It's all going to be up to Crazy to be that instrument of demise. If he can go for the flank, trying to reload the LMG. Crazy has made it all the way into Fountain now. He's in between 3 attackers, all on different angles, rushing straight into Archives. Wary has crossed the flank, going down in the back of Archives with no cover. 15 seconds left, diffuser lost in the backside of sight, and Crazy and Heavy are going to be able to hold this. The long angle behind the deployable for Heavy. Crazy laying prone in the back of Archives. They both try to rush in. He saw him for a second, but the pre-fire, and they're both going to get one apiece. 4-2 lead, and we're looking like we're going to have a repeat of Clubhouse here round-wise.
That was a magnificent play that we had from both of those teammates. And you said patience is a big thing here. This is a Noble that was touted for their aggressiveness. I've mentioned it multiple times, but they look less aggressive now. It looks like they've learned that restraint that can pay dividends for them as a team, and their play is good in the way that Honor is approaching these situations. The adaptation that we saw as the execute goes down from Honor, Crazy gets a call. I don't know if there was a call that Plant was going down or not, but Crazy either lucked out or got a magnificent call from one of his teammates, able to not just stop that defuse, but also then sit on it and trained his sight, head level, waiting for the call from the ACOG of the Maestro to just continuously pop up, playing behind that deployable shield. And they're just, all that utility that I mentioned was used on Yeti. There's none of it left to possibly tackle that deployable shield. You can't use your frag grenades. Zofia didn't, well, I don't even think Zofia was up at that point.
Nope.
If I recall earlier, the Zofia was taken out as one of the first people in that ensuing fight between the two teams. That's a great position for Maestro to be in. You get a lot of usage out of that ACOG. You get, you know, probably one of the most powerful positions because he's basically invulnerable at that point unless he pops up and you manage to get him when he's vulnerable from above or around the shield. So that was textbook from Noble to be able to do that, establishing that crossfire as they both literally could have crossed each other, and just a victim of time for Honor.
Talked about Smoke not having much of a presence, but Breezy seemingly does not care about the recoil update on the SMG-11. He and Crazy both have 7 frags apiece so far on Border through 6 rounds. They have a 2-round advantage secured for themselves once again. So we've gone back and forth, the 2-0, the 3-1, the 4-2. Noble extending that lead. Will the pattern continue? Will Honor bring it back within 1, or will Noble run away with it? 2 rounds away from heading to the playoffs.
Yeah. It's sad that one of these teams have to go home. I think Honor's really impressed me from a BYOC perspective. Obviously, this game is still within reach of them. By no means is this over. But if this is it for Honor in regards to the way they played, I've been very impressed with their ability. And you know, a lot of these teams, like I said, will assemble specifically for these events. It'd be nice to see Honor stay together and maybe try to tackle some amateur leagues. Unfortunately, I'm not very well versed in Challenger League right now for North America. I'm not entirely certain if Honor made it to Challenger League or not. I don't believe so, but leadoff kill Heavy as he's sitting once again at that half wall. This is the same position that we saw the Maestro in last time around. Yeti will very narrowly scamper past a frag grenade that will take out a portion of his HP, but not that much. Mustache has also lost quite a bit, and 25 gone from Maestro. So these teams coming to blows within about a minute of this round, round number 7. Once again, gonna say the same thing. Could be our penultimate round, depending on what happens with Noble. And are we looking at a direct mirror match of Clubhouse, as you said? The same strategy from Noble being employed as the site is customs, so you need to defend CCTV and security, and they're going to be using Crazy's Frost setup in almost the same way. Heavy will pick up a 2nd kill. He's got 2 on the round, as what little was left of the buck will be no longer, and he still is just completely undeterred at that wall.
There goes a Frost Mat behind the break room, half wall. Legend caught down, yet he's gonna grab 1. It's all up to Romulus, who drops 3K in 3 seconds. We are 1 round away from sending Noble to the quarterfinals.
And just getting confirmation that our next match up is going to be Evil Geniuses versus Mock It. So that will be the next match shown here on broadcast. possibly at the conclusion of this round, or even longer, depending on how much more this contest goes on for. But Evil Geniuses, who I think were stunned a lot of people by falling to Cloud9, will get their last crack at getting into the playoffs against the formerly French. I guess they'd still technically be majority.
Majority French, yeah.
Well, 2 French, Swiss, Hungarian, and German. So I guess just straight up European now. Yeah. Mocket versus Evil Geniuses. We'll get a second look at Mocket and see how they've been able to put anything together over the last 24 hours after their real scrappy fight against Cloud9.
Yeah, that was a marathon yesterday, the C9 Mocket game.
Yeah, I think you said it was one of the longest best of threes that I think we've had so far using this new system.
Yep.
And just because it is 5-5, and then you have to go into overtime, I think it ends up with matches being like an extra 10 to 20 minutes or so, and then you add in breaks, and it can end up being almost an extra hour over the old setup. But yeah, like you said, it was a very scrappy matchup. I think that was the term that Devin used to describe it earlier today. Both teams taking a really aggressive look, and some of them not going exactly the most heavy with strats. Ventilation Workshop just turning to this match as we are in match point for Noble. They're looking to knock for Honor out. That will be yet another BYOC team that will fail to advance past the group stages. I don't even think outside of their wins in the BYOC, I don't think a single BYOC team has actually won a matchup so far today. That's
don't think so.
Usually pretty standard. I think the outlier was DreamHack Austin.
That was an outlier for sure.
With both Beast Coast and Disrupt. And Disrupt made it actually into the top 4, and they came through the BYOCs as well.
Well, starting out, Van Workshop defense for Noble to try and close this thing out. A lot of trap operators being brought, Breezy and Crazy, but bringing the Legion and Ella respectively. You also have the smoke from Yeti. So a little bit of an op swap up, at least by rolls, but sprays from inside of Customs. Freak still loving this Zofia LMG. Lots of fire going back and forth, none of it landing. The Legion of Breezy is going to press closer towards that passport check wall, and Freak might have thought about going for an impact, but LSG instead from above. Crazy's going to grab one before immediately traded out. A failed cover there by Romulus, allowing his teammate to die. Breezy's going to impact straight out of passport and head in towards main lobby. I'm not even sure his Legend is aware of this. He's gonna turn the corner, he's got no clue. He's gone for 2 stacked inside of Tellers and 1 off on the rooftop covering the Thermite. That's the Twitch of Mustache. Just spotting the head of Breezy, decapitating him swiftly. Sprays from the LMG, gonna land 1 shot, it looked. I guess not. Still 100 HP for all 3 on each side.
Yeah, but it's at least LSG's been able to open up this wall that you can see Mustache looking through. It's going to not just provide the pressure from the sightlines, but also allow Mustache to just walk right in. Now, it did appear that there was an Evil Eye that was spying these members of Honor, so their position should at least be known. The 2 members of Noble likely doing cam duty and intel duty for the rest of their team. Honor will need to try to attempt a plant. There's lots of time left right now, as this has been pretty decent time management on Honor's side of things, but Mustache will win a fight against Acid that is a real head scratcher, likely because the F2 is just such a powerful machine. All those bars of Heavy, even the EG skin can't help him at all, as he'll miss most of his shots, and now Heavy will have to rotate back to site. Yeti will manage to take out the Thermite of LSG, and the Sledge of Romulus spies Yeti before being traded off from Heavy, and we have a 1v1, a nice tense situation, and there is an Evil Eye possibly giving information, but Mustache will break the mirror matchup that we had so far. Honor desperately needed that, and even with the Evil Eye on him, look at the F2 just doing exactly what you need it to do.
Lots of DPS, high rate of fire, low recoil, decent damage.
Round number 9, still match point for Noble.
Yes, but we finally see a 9th round.
Very good point. It's actually been pretty quick matches today. Yes. Overall. The Rogue Chaos match was fast. Mouse Core was literally probably as fast as you can go. Noble versus Honor, quite quick. I suspect that the Mocket EG match,
I was gonna say, that's
not going to be quick at all.
No.
Especially if the EG that showed up against Cloud9 shows up against Mocket, that one's going to a 3rd map for sure.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
For sure, bud.
Interestingly enough, the core of that Mocket team was formerly known as Vitality, ended up in the same bracket as Evil Geniuses, but they didn't cross paths at all at the Invitational.
No.
The Invitational, EG had 1 up first time around, beat them, lost to Penta, beat 1 up a 2nd time. Didn't have to play the team of Mocket, so I mean, you're in a position now where these 2 teams have possibly crossed paths before, but never actually had to square off. This should be an interesting one, especially with the addition of Sir Boss and Hungry being added to Maka. What did Honor do well there? Well, opening up that wall with the thermite was instrumental. If LSG had not been capable of getting that wall open, then the rest of Honor have to rotate. They have to go in through those single doorways, as was mentioned. You have Romulus, who would have to go through the main door. And even with that, even with the Twitch doing as much work as the Twitch did, you don't have the ability to take control of that site and force the rest of Noble back into ventilation downstairs. But the good news is that for Noble, because of the way the rotation works, they've got armory lockers and archives open to them.
Heading back, and once again, it's going to be heavy on the Maestro, breaking open the right side of that armory wall with a deployable shield as a peak. It's been pretty successful just bobbing and weaving around those deployable shields wherever they may be set up, previously by metal half wall and locker sandwich, this time again angling towards the armory wall. Again with the CC setup, but no frost this time from Crazy. He's going to stick quick to the Jaeger in prep. Shots going back and forth. He actually lands at least one to the chest on Romulus, possibly two. And Honor, again, stacking to try and go for this office push that was foiled by the flank, and Yeti, you got to get out. Yeah, you're just a tad late on that. Breaking open the radio window, and Yeti might go for the jump as he sees LSG right beside him, shoots him in the hand as he shoots the drone, gets one, gets no! He doesn't get two even as he almost went for three, downs him.
He softened up almost every single member of Honor, though, as there were multiple bodies on the east stairs. So look at that. They're either going to need to commit to resets here, which I don't think are going to be possible, but Mustache not getting picked up because I think they're fearing that if this call goes right for Noble, they could possibly dive on them and get two, as Zofia would have been in a vulnerable state. But I think Honor makes the right call here to pick up the buck and gets him back to life. But that's everybody on Honor. You've lost almost two full bodies just in terms of pure HP.
We've also lost the thermite, so they can't breach open the archives wall. This is a bad spot to be in. Yeti's already used his utility. If he had a nitro cell, I'm sure he didn't get to use it, but I'd trade a bandit with charges down for a thermite with an exothermic charge remaining any day of the week.
Absolutely, especially when you failed to bandit trick once. I mean, that's kind of a bummer, but at that time, you're probably not going to be bandit tricking a second time. So what happens now with just a minute to go here on match point? You've got that Soul Heart Breacher, and it's just going to have to be a fight for Honor. They don't really have a chance to use that utility in the way that I think they want, only because the only exothermic charge was able to get one of the exterior walls and not one of the site walls. You still have the frag grenades available, and you can burn, of course, all those ADSs that are available from Crazy. And Romulus will get a beautiful kill here on the Crazy, and that'll just open things up as Honor now takes a numbers lead by one.
Concussion mines being sent in, slow peaks from the Zofia. They're all hitting Legion mines, which their low health already is going to be deteriorated even further. Ass is going to drop Romulus. He's pressing up to 90. Plans attempting to be going down inside of Archives. The smoke canister's going out, and he's going to finish off Mustache. The diffuser lost inside of Archives. 3v2 for Noble, and it looks like this is going to be a lockout. They try and recovery for the diffuser. Grabs it, going for the plants, and Freak's able to pick up Breezy in the process. The plant's still being completed, but it's all up to Freak. No time remaining at 0-0-0, rushing in, and that's going to end it. Noble heading deeper into the bracket, and they will send Honor home. Our BYOC team from Montreal not extending any further.
A scary possible round for Noble that would have made it a 5-4 in a predicament in which you could have lost momentum and lost ground, but they're able to complete it. They only ended up dropping one more round in Border than they did on Clubhouse. As anticipated, I thought it was going to be an attacker favored thing, but Noble ended up winning 3 rounds on defense. Could possibly have just been that Noble was more prepared as well.
Yeah. Overall, for this series, though, Intero, you said that maybe something Noble needed to do was be less aggressive in their type of playstyle. I think we sort of saw that on that winning round with the way that Yeti pushed out, got 2 kills, or almost 2 kills, but softened out a lot of people. Nobody really closed in. They decided to fall back and play a little bit more passively. But overall, did you feel that that was the type of playstyle that we saw from Noble in these 2 maps?
I mean, I thought there was a lot more passive plays from Noble than we've seen before against other North American teams. Now, mind you, that could be because they just don't know Honor well enough to know if they can break them. It also could be that when Secret got really aggressive against Honor, Honor was able to counter it quite well. Those things can definitely go into it. I know that Noble does their